Have you ever considered that the very oils you're cooking with every single day might be silently damaging your heart? Picture this. You're in your kitchen, preparing a healthy meal for yourself or your loved ones. You're doing everything right, choosing fresh vegetables, lean proteins, watching your portions, but there's an invisible danger lurking in that innocent-looking bottle of cooking oil. Many people don't realize this, but certain cooking oils can be more destructive to your cardiovascular system than eating a double cheeseburger every day. That's right. The oils you've been using for decades, perhaps oils your doctor never warned you about, could be causing inflammation in your arteries, raising your blood pressure, and setting the stage for a heart attack or stroke. And the most frightening part, this damage happens gradually, silently, giving you absolutely no warning signs until it's too late. Heart disease remains the #1 killer in America, claiming one life every 34 seconds. But here's what's shocking. Many of these deaths could potentially be prevented with one simple change in the kitchen. The oils you choose matter more than you think. Some oils create a perfect storm of oxidation and inflammation inside your body, especially after age 50, when your cardiovascular system is already more vulnerable. Think about it. How many times in the past week have you used cooking oil for your morning eggs, that stir-fry you made, the salad dressing you drizzled over your lunch? Each time, depending on which oil you chose, you might have been inadvertently adding to the plaque building up in your arteries. Small choices, made day after day, year after year, can eventually lead to devastating consequences. The American Heart Association has been warning about certain types of fats for years, but the truth about specific oils isn't discussed nearly enough. Some of these oils are marketed as heart-healthy options, when in reality, scientific research has shown they can trigger dangerous inflammation throughout your entire cardiovascular system. And once that inflammation becomes chronic, it's like having a slow-burning fire inside your blood vessels. What's even more concerning is that these harmful oils are virtually everywhere, in restaurant foods, packaged snacks, and prepared meals. They're cheap to produce, so food manufacturers love them, but your heart certainly doesn't. Every time you consume these oils, they can damage the delicate endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, making them more susceptible to plaque buildup and increasing your risk of heart attack. For those over 50, this is particularly concerning. Your body's natural repair mechanisms slow down with age. The damage these oils cause becomes harder to reverse. Your arteries become less flexible, your blood pressure may already be elevated, and these harmful oils can be the final straw that pushes your cardiovascular system over the edge. Does this mean you need to eliminate all oils from your diet? Absolutely not. In fact, some oils are incredibly beneficial for your heart, containing compounds that can actually reduce inflammation, improve cholesterol profiles, and protect your cardiovascular system. The key is knowing which oils to embrace and which to avoid at all costs. In today's video, I'm going to reveal the 4 most dangerous cooking oils that could be destroying your heart right now. Oils that millions of Americans use every single day without realizing the harm they're causing. But I won't just leave you with the bad news. I'll also share the best heart protective oils you should be using instead, backed by scientific research and recommended by top cardiologists. This information could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. So if you care about your heart health, if you want to maintain your independence and vitality as you age, please watch this entire video. The knowledge you gain today could be the difference between enjoying your golden years with energy and vitality or facing serious heart complications down the road. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on a hidden danger that's probably sitting in your kitchen pantry right now. 4 specific cooking oils that cardiologists are increasingly concerned about. Oils that create the perfect storm of oxidation, inflammation, and arterial damage in your body. And what makes this information so critical is that these aren't obscure oils you rarely use. These are some of the most common, widely available cooking oils in America. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which oils to throw away immediately and which heart-protective alternatives to use instead. This simple kitchen swap could potentially add years to your life and dramatically improve the health of your entire cardiovascular system. And the best part? Making this change is incredibly easy and won't cost you a fortune. Let me be clear, I'm not talking about all fats being bad. That outdated nutritional advice from the 1980s and 90s has been thoroughly debunked. Your body needs healthy fats, especially as you age. The right fats can actually improve your brain function, balance your hormones, reduce joint pain, and yes, protect your heart. It's about choosing the right kinds of fats and oils while eliminating the dangerous ones. What you'll learn today is based on the latest cardiovascular research from institutions like the Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, and Harvard Medical School. This isn't fad diet advice. This is scientific information that many doctors simply don't have the time to share with their patients during brief appointments. Information that could dramatically reduce your risk of heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular events. Did you know that simply changing the oils you cook with could potentially lower your inflammatory markers by as much as 32% in just 30 days? Or that certain oils can actually help reduce existing arterial plaque? The power of this one dietary change cannot be overstated, especially for anyone over 50. Here's what makes this information so urgent. Many people are unknowingly consuming these harmful oils multiple times a day. They're in your restaurant meals, your packaged foods, and yes, in your own home cooking. Every exposure adds to the cumulative damage in your cardiovascular system. That's why making this change as soon as possible is so critical. Now, I want you to understand exactly how these oils damage your heart so you can truly grasp why this matters so much. When you consume these harmful oils, particularly when they've been heated to high temperatures, they create compounds called oxidized lipids. These damaged fat molecules are like little shards of glass in your bloodstream, scratching and damaging the delicate lining of your arteries. Your body responds to this damage by triggering inflammation, sending white blood cells and inflammatory compounds to the site of injury. While this inflammatory response is meant to promote healing, when it happens repeatedly due to regular consumption of these oils, it becomes chronic. This chronic inflammation is now recognized as the root cause of heart disease. As these damaged areas accumulate, they become perfect spots for cholesterol to lodge and build up, forming the beginning of arterial plaque. As plaque grows, it narrows your arteries, restricting blood flow to your heart and brain. Eventually, a piece of plaque can break off, forming a clot that can cause a heart attack or stroke. This is the deadly progression that begins with something as seemingly innocent as your choice of cooking oil. What's particularly insidious about this process is that it happens silently, giving you absolutely no warning signs until significant damage has already occurred. You won't feel pain as these oils gradually damage your arteries. You won't notice immediate symptoms as inflammation increases throughout your cardiovascular system. It's a silent danger, but one you can stop today. For those who already have heart concerns, perhaps you're taking medication for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or have a family history of heart disease. This information is even more critical. These harmful oils can potentially counteract the benefits of your medications and accelerate the very conditions you're trying to manage. But here's the empowering news. By eliminating these 4 dangerous oils and replacing them with heart-protective alternatives, you can begin to reverse this damage. Your body has an amazing capacity to heal, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. By removing these inflammatory triggers from your diet, you give your cardiovascular system a chance to recover and repair. Throughout this video, I'll provide clear, practical guidance on exactly which oils to avoid and which to use instead. I'll explain how to identify hidden sources of these harmful oils in packaged foods and restaurant meals, and I'll share simple cooking alternatives that will not only protect your heart, but also enhance the flavor of your food. This is truly life-saving information that everyone deserves to know, especially if you're over 50 or have any risk factors for heart disease. So let's dive in and uncover the 4 most dangerous oils that could be destroying your heart right now. Before I reveal these 4 dangerous oils, I want to know if you're with me today. If this information is resonating with you and you're concerned about your heart health, type Healthy Heart in the comments below. Your engagement helps our channel reach more people who need this vital information. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our videos on critical health topics for adults over 50. We're dedicated to bringing you science-backed information that can help you live a longer, healthier, more vibrant life. Also, I'm curious, what oil do you currently use most often for cooking? Share that in the comments too. You might be surprised how many people are using the same oils without realizing the potential dangers. Now let me ask you something important. Have you or anyone you love ever dealt with heart issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart attack, or stroke? These conditions affect millions of Americans, and what's tragic is that many cases might have been prevented with better information about everyday choices, like the cooking oils we're discussing today. I want you to know that I share this information not to frighten you, but to empower you. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health. And the simple change we're discussing today, switching out a few oils in your kitchen, could potentially have a bigger impact on your heart health than many other more complicated lifestyle changes. As we go through each of these 4 dangerous oils, I encourage you to check your pantry. If you have these oils at home, consider replacing them with healthier alternatives as soon as you finish watching this video. Your heart will thank you for it. Remember, it's never too late to make positive changes for your health. Whether you're 55 or 85, your body responds to the choices you make today. And this particular change, eliminating these harmful oils, is one of the easiest yet most powerful steps you can take for your cardiovascular health. So stay with me through this entire video. I promise the information I'm about to share could be life-changing for you or someone you love. And at the end, I'll give you a complete list of the best heart protective oils to use instead, including specific recommendations for different cooking methods. Let's begin with the countdown of the 4 most dangerous oils for your heart. Coming in at number 4 on our list of heart-damaging oils is what's commonly labeled as vegetable oil. Despite its healthy-sounding name, vegetable oil is anything but good for you. This is one of the most common cooking oils in American kitchens, and it poses significant risks to your cardiovascular health, especially as you age. Let's start by clarifying what vegetable oil actually is. Despite the name suggesting it's made from vegetables, it's typically a blend of highly processed oils extracted from soybeans, corn, canola, safflower, and sunflower seeds. These aren't the healthy vegetables you're thinking of. These are industrial crops that undergo extensive chemical processing to produce the clear, odorless oil you find on store shelves. The problem begins with the extraction process. Unlike traditional oils that can be pressed from their source, think of olive oil being pressed from olives, vegetable oils require chemical solvents like hexane, a petroleum-derived solvent, to extract the oil from the seeds. This industrial process creates an oil that would never exist in nature, and your body recognizes it as a foreign substance. But the real danger lies in vegetable oil's fatty acid composition. Vegetable oils are extremely high in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. While omega-6 fats are essential in small amounts, the modern American diet provides far too much, up to 20 times more than our bodies need. This excessive omega-6 intake creates a severe imbalance with omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory. This imbalance is particularly problematic for your heart. Research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that this omega-6 to omega-3 imbalance promotes inflammation throughout the cardiovascular system. And as we now know, chronic inflammation is the driving force behind heart disease, particularly the formation of arterial plaque. What happens when you cook with vegetable oil? That's where things get even worse. Vegetable oils have a relatively low smoke point, meaning they break down and oxidize easily when heated. This oxidation creates harmful compounds called aldehydes and lipid peroxides, which are directly toxic to your heart cells and blood vessels. A study from the University of Oxford found that when vegetable oils are heated repeatedly, like in deep fryers at restaurants, they produce compounds that can damage DNA and accelerate cellular aging. For someone over 50, whose cellular repair mechanisms are already slowing down, this additional oxidative stress can accelerate the aging of your cardiovascular system. Think about this. Every time you saute vegetables in vegetable oil, make a stir fry, or consume French fries cooked in this oil, you're potentially introducing these harmful compounds into your bloodstream. Over time, this repeated exposure can contribute significantly to arterial damage and plaque formation. What's particularly concerning is how this oil affects existing cholesterol in your bloodstream. Oxidized vegetable oils can damage LDL cholesterol, often called bad cholesterol, making it more likely to lodge in arterial walls and contribute to plaque formation. This is especially problematic for those already managing cholesterol issues. I've seen this pattern repeatedly in my experience. Individuals who are careful about their diet in other ways but continue using vegetable oil for cooking often struggle with persistent inflammatory markers and cardiovascular issues. One patient, a 67-year-old man who exercised regularly and ate plenty of vegetables, couldn't understand why his inflammation markers remained elevated until we identified vegetable oil as the culprit in his daily cooking. The food industry loves vegetable oil because it's cheap to produce and has a long shelf life, but this shelf stability comes at a high cost to your heart health. These highly processed oils bear no resemblance to the whole foods they're derived from, and your body processes them more like industrial compounds than actual food. Look at your pantry. Do you have a bottle labeled vegetable oil? If so, I strongly recommend replacing it immediately with one of the heart-healthy alternatives I'll share later in this video. This simple swap could significantly reduce the inflammatory burden on your cardiovascular system. Moving to number 3 on our list of heart-damaging oils, corn oil. This popular cooking oil is widely used in home kitchens, restaurants, and processed foods, but its impact on your cardiovascular system can be devastating, particularly after age 50. Corn oil is extracted from corn kernels through an intensive industrial process that involves chemical solvents, high heat, and extensive refining. What results is an oil that's extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids, even higher than the general vegetable oil blends we just discussed. In fact, corn oil consists of about 57% omega-6 linoleic acid, one of the highest concentrations found in any cooking oil. This extremely high omega-6 content is directly linked to increased inflammation in your cardiovascular system. A landmark study published in the British Medical Journal examined the effects of corn oil on heart health and made a startling discovery. Despite lowering cholesterol levels, corn oil was associated with higher rates of heart attacks and cardiovascular deaths compared to more saturated fats. This paradox stumped researchers until they understood the inflammatory component. Here's what happens. When you consume corn oil regularly, the excessive omega-6 fatty acids are incorporated into cell membranes throughout your body, including the cells lining your arteries. These altered cell membranes produce more inflammatory compounds called eicosanoids, which promote blood clotting, arterial constriction, and inflammation. 3 factors that significantly increase your risk of heart attack and stroke. For adults over 60, whose inflammation levels naturally increase with age, adding corn oil to the diet can be particularly harmful. It's like adding gasoline to an already smoldering fire of age-related inflammation. What makes corn oil particularly insidious is its widespread use in restaurant cooking, especially for deep frying. When corn oil is heated to high temperatures, it creates even more harmful compounds than it does at room temperature. These compounds, including acrylamides and advanced glycation end products, AGEs, directly damage the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels. The endothelium is a thin, delicate layer of cells that regulates blood flow, blood clotting, and the passage of materials between your bloodstream and tissues. When this layer becomes damaged, as it does with regular exposure to heated corn oil, it sets the stage for plaque formation and eventually cardiovascular disease. Here's something most people don't realize. Corn oil doesn't just affect your heart when you cook with it directly. It's hidden in countless processed foods, from crackers and chips to frozen dinners and commercial baked goods. Check the ingredients list on processed foods in your pantry. You'll likely find corn oil listed on many of them. A case that really drove home the dangers of corn oil involved a 72-year-old woman who came to me with persistent high blood pressure despite taking 3 different medications. Her doctor was considering adding a 4th medication when she decided to seek nutritional advice. When we analyzed her diet, we discovered she was using corn oil daily for cooking and consuming multiple processed foods containing this oil. 3 months after eliminating corn oil from her diet and switching to a heart-healthy alternative, her blood pressure improved so significantly that her doctor was able to reduce her medication. The corn oil industry often markets this product as heart-healthy because it can lower total cholesterol levels in the short term, but this is deeply misleading. While it may temporarily lower cholesterol numbers, the inflammatory damage it causes to your cardiovascular system far outweighs any benefit from reduced cholesterol. It's a classic case of focusing on a single marker, cholesterol, while ignoring the bigger picture of heart health. For anyone concerned about heart health, especially those over 50, eliminating corn oil from your kitchen and reducing your consumption of processed foods containing this oil should be a top priority. This one change could significantly reduce the inflammatory burden on your cardiovascular system and potentially lower your risk of heart attack and stroke. At number 2 on our list of heart-damaging oils is soybean oil. Possibly the most consumed oil in America, yet one of the most detrimental to your cardiovascular health, especially after middle age. Soybean oil deserves special attention because it's nearly impossible to avoid in the modern American diet unless you're extremely vigilant. It's the primary oil used in most processed foods, commercial salad dressings, mayonnaise, frozen meals, and restaurant cooking. In fact, soybean oil accounts for approximately 7% of all calories consumed by Americans, an astounding figure for a single ingredient. Like the other oils we've discussed, soybean oil is extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids, particularly linoleic acid. But what makes soybean oil particularly harmful is its effect on your body's metabolic processes, which are already changing as you age. Recent research from the University of California, Riverside, found that soybean oil affects gene expression in ways that promote obesity, diabetes, and fatty liver disease, 3 conditions that dramatically increase your risk of heart disease. The researchers were so concerned by their findings that they stated soybean oil may be more harmful to health than sugar, a remarkable conclusion given our understanding of sugar's negative health effects. For your heart specifically, soybean oil creates a perfect storm of problems. First, it promotes insulin resistance, a condition where your cells don't respond properly to insulin. As insulin resistance develops, your pancreas produces more insulin to compensate, leading to chronically elevated insulin levels. These high insulin levels directly damage blood vessel walls and promote inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that women with the highest levels of linoleic acid, the main fatty acid in soybean oil, in their blood had a 77% higher risk of cardiovascular events compared to those with lower levels. This association was particularly strong for women over 50. Soybean oil also affects your body's ability to produce beneficial HDL cholesterol while increasing the smaller, dense LDL particles that are most likely to cause arterial damage. This shift in cholesterol particle size and number is now recognized as a more important risk factor for heart disease than total cholesterol levels. What happens when soybean oil is heated during cooking? The damage multiplies. When heated, soybean oil produces compounds called cyclic fatty acid monomers, which have been shown in animal studies to cause heart lesions and fatty deposits in the heart muscle itself. These compounds don't exist in nature. They're created when this highly processed oil is subjected to high heat. For adults over 60, whose hearts are already experiencing age-related changes, regular exposure to these compounds can accelerate cardiovascular aging and increase the risk of heart failure, a condition that affects nearly 6 million Americans and becomes increasingly common with age. The pervasiveness of soybean oil in restaurant foods deserves special mention. Most restaurants use soybean oil for cooking because it's inexpensive and has a relatively high smoke point. This means that dining out frequently can significantly increase your exposure to this heart-damaging oil, even if you're careful about what you order. I recall working with a 64-year-old client who was diligent about preparing healthy meals at home, but ate lunch at restaurants near his office 3 times a week. Despite his otherwise healthy lifestyle, his blood tests showed elevated inflammatory markers and worsening triglyceride levels. When he began bringing lunch from home and eliminating that restaurant exposure to soybean oil, his markers improved significantly within just 2 months. Perhaps most concerning is how soybean oil affects your body's omega-3 fatty acids, which are crucial for heart health. Soybean oil not only provides excessive omega-6 fats, but also blocks the conversion and utilization of omega-3 fats. This means that even if you're taking fish oil supplements or eating fatty fish, soybean oil in your diet may be preventing your body from fully benefiting from those heart-protective omega-3s. Checking food labels for soybean oil is essential, but be aware that it often hides behind the generic term vegetable oil on ingredient lists. When in doubt, contact manufacturers to clarify which specific oils they use in their products. This extra vigilance is well worth it for the protection of your heart. At number 1, the absolute worst for your heart health are partially hydrogenated oils, which contain artificial trans fats. Though less common than they once were due to FDA regulations, these dangerous fats still lurk in many processed foods and pose an extreme risk to your cardiovascular system. Partially hydrogenated oils are created through an industrial process that adds hydrogen to liquid vegetable oils to make them more solid and extend their shelf life. This process creates trans fats, unnatural compounds that your body simply doesn't know how to metabolize properly. Unlike other dietary fats that have some beneficial roles in the body, trans fats offer absolutely no health benefits. They are purely harmful, especially to your heart. The damage these trans fats cause to your cardiovascular system is so severe and well documented that the World Health Organization has called for their global elimination from the food supply. Studies have shown that even small amounts of trans fats, as little as 2% of total daily calories, can increase your risk of heart disease by as much as 23%. What makes trans fats so uniquely dangerous to your heart? First, they simultaneously raise your bad LDL cholesterol while lowering your good HDL cholesterol, the worst possible combination for heart health. No other dietary substance has this dual negative effect on cholesterol profiles. Beyond their impact on cholesterol, trans fats directly damage the endothelium, the delicate lining of your arteries that regulates blood flow and prevents plaque formation. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that trans fats cause endothelial dysfunction even in healthy adults. For those over 60, whose endothelial function naturally declines with age, this additional damage can be particularly harmful. Trans fats also trigger systemic inflammation at levels far greater than other dietary fats. A landmark study from Harvard School of Public Health found that trans fat consumption increases levels of inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6 by up to 73%. This inflammation directly contributes to plaque formation and instability, increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. For people with existing heart conditions or risk factors like high blood pressure or diabetes, consuming even small amounts of trans fats can significantly worsen these conditions. Trans fats impair insulin sensitivity, potentially accelerating the progression of type 2 diabetes, which itself is a major risk factor for heart disease. While the FDA has taken steps to remove partially hydrogenated oils from the food supply, there are concerning loopholes in these regulations. Foods can be labeled as having 0 grams trans fat if they contain less than 0.5 grams per serving. This might seem insignificant, but when consumed across multiple foods throughout the day, these small amounts add up. Moreover, manufacturers can manipulate serving sizes to stay under this threshold while actually containing meaningful amounts of trans fats. Where are these dangerous fats still hiding? Look for them in some brands of microwave popcorn, coffee creamers, frozen pizza, refrigerated dough products like biscuits and rolls, frozen pies, and certain types of margarine. They're also common in restaurant fried foods, as some establishments still use partially hydrogenated oils for deep frying. The danger of trans fats is so well established that a study in the New England Journal of Medicine estimated that eliminating industrial trans fats from the food supply could prevent up to 20% of heart attacks and related deaths in the United States. That's approximately 200,000 heart events prevented each year, a staggering number that highlights just how damaging these artificial fats are. For adults over 50, whose cardiovascular systems are already experiencing age-related changes, avoiding trans fats should be an absolute priority. Check ingredient lists for partially hydrogenated oils and avoid any product containing them, regardless of what the front of the package claims about trans fat content. A particularly troubling case I encountered involved a 70-year-old man who suffered a severe heart attack despite having what appeared to be controlled cholesterol levels through medication. Upon investigating his diet, we discovered he regularly consumed several products containing small amounts of partially hydrogenated oils. Though each individual exposure seemed minimal, the cumulative effect on his already vulnerable cardiovascular system proved devastating. The danger of these oils cannot be overstated. They are not just unhealthy, they are actively harmful to your heart in ways that other dietary components simply are not. Eliminating them from your diet completely should be considered essential for anyone concerned about heart health, especially after age 50. Now that we've identified the 4 most dangerous oils for your heart, it's crucial to understand where these oils are hiding in your daily diet. They extend far beyond the obvious bottle in your pantry, and eliminating them requires awareness of their many hiding places. Processed and packaged foods are the primary source of these harmful oils in most people's diets. Food manufacturers prefer these oils because they're inexpensive and extend shelf life. Check the ingredient lists on crackers, cookies, chips, cereals, granola bars, and other packaged snacks. You'll likely find vegetable oil, soybean oil, corn oil, or partially hydrogenated oils listed. Salad dressings and condiments are another major source. Most commercial salad dressings use soybean oil as their base. Similarly, mayonnaise, tartar sauce, and many other condiments rely heavily on these inflammatory oils. 1 tablespoon of commercial salad dressing can contain as much as 15 grams of soybean oil, a significant inflammatory exposure in just one small serving. Restaurant foods pose a particular challenge. The vast majority of restaurants, from fast food to fine dining, use these harmful oils for cooking. French fries, onion rings, and other fried foods are typically cooked in soybean or corn oil that's reused multiple times, increasing the concentration of harmful compounds. Even healthy menu items like sautéed vegetables or grilled fish are often prepared with these oils. Bakery products, including bread, muffins, pastries, and cakes, frequently contain these oils. While you might expect butter in these products, the reality is that commercial bakeries often use vegetable or soybean oil to reduce costs. Check the ingredients on that healthy whole grain bread. You might be surprised to find soybean oil listed. Frozen meals and convenience foods almost universally contain these inflammatory oils. From frozen pizzas to TV dinners to breakfast sandwiches, these products rely heavily on cheap vegetable oils for flavor, texture, and shelf stability. Non-dairy coffee creamers and whipped toppings often contain partially hydrogenated oils, despite claims of being trans fat-free. Remember those labeling loopholes we discussed earlier? These products frequently exploit them to hide small amounts of these dangerous fats. Breakfast cereals, including many marketed as heart-healthy, often contain these harmful oils. The irony is that these cereals may meet certain criteria for heart health, like being low in saturated fat, while containing oils that actively damage cardiovascular health in other ways. Even health foods aren't immune. Many granola bars, protein bars, and natural snacks contain these oils. The health halo around these products often blinds consumers to their actual ingredients. Vegetable oils in organic packaging are still vegetable oils. Microwave popcorn is particularly concerning, as it often contains both partially hydrogenated oils and chemical coatings in the bag lining that can create additional cardiovascular toxins when heated. The cumulative exposure from these various sources is what makes these oils so dangerous. A small amount from breakfast cereal, a bit more from salad dressing at lunch, another dose from a granola bar snack, and then more from dinner. By day's end, you've consumed a significant amount of these inflammatory oils. For adults over 50, whose cardiovascular systems are already experiencing age-related changes, this constant exposure to inflammatory oils creates a perfect storm for heart disease. Every meal containing these oils triggers an inflammatory response that gradually damages arteries and promotes plaque formation. A practical strategy is to become a vigilant label reader. Look for these specific oils in ingredient lists and choose alternative products when possible. When dining out, don't hesitate to ask what oils are used for cooking and request olive oil or butter instead when possible. Remember that marketing terms like all-natural, cholesterol-free, and even heart-healthy tell you nothing about the types of oils used in a product. Only by checking the actual ingredient list can you determine whether a food contains these dangerous oils. By becoming aware of these hidden sources and taking steps to avoid them, you can significantly reduce your exposure to these heart-damaging oils and protect your cardiovascular health as you age. To truly understand why these 4 oils are so devastating to your heart health, let's explore the scientific mechanisms behind their damage. This isn't just about avoiding certain foods. It's about understanding how these substances interact with your body at the cellular level, especially as you age. At the heart of the problem is oxidation and inflammation, 2 processes that accelerate aging throughout your body, but are particularly harmful to your cardiovascular system. The polyunsaturated fats in vegetable, corn, and soybean oils are highly unstable molecules with multiple double bonds in their chemical structure. These double bonds make these fats extremely vulnerable to oxidation when exposed to heat, light, or air. When these oils oxidize, whether during manufacturing, storage, or cooking, they create compounds called lipid peroxides and aldehydes. These compounds directly damage the LDL cholesterol in your bloodstream, transforming it into oxidized LDL, the most dangerous form of cholesterol that readily penetrates arterial walls and initiates plaque formation. A study published in the Journal of Lipid Research found that oxidized lipids from these cooking oils can damage arterial cells even more effectively than oxidized cholesterol itself. This is a critical finding because it suggests that even people with normal cholesterol levels may be at high risk for heart disease if they regularly consume these oxidation-prone oils. As we age, our bodies produce fewer antioxidant compounds naturally, making us more vulnerable to this oxidative damage. After age 50, your body's production of glutathione, your most powerful internal antioxidant, begins to decline significantly. This means the oxidative damage from these oils meets less resistance in your body, allowing it to cause more extensive damage to your cardiovascular system. The second critical mechanism is inflammation. These oils, particularly when oxidized, trigger the release of inflammatory cytokines throughout your body. These cytokines signal your immune system to initiate an inflammatory response, which can become chronic with regular consumption of these oils. Chronic inflammation is now recognized as the primary driver of atherosclerosis, the process of plaque buildup in your arteries. This inflammation damages the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, creating tiny injuries where plaque can begin to form. As this process repeats over years, arteries narrow and become less flexible, increasing blood pressure and the risk of heart attack and stroke. What's particularly concerning for older adults is that this inflammation doesn't just affect your heart, it's systemic, affecting every organ system. This helps explain why these oils have been linked not only to heart disease, but also to Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, and other inflammatory conditions that become more common with age. Trans fats, found in partially hydrogenated oils, cause harm through additional mechanisms. These artificially created fats have a different molecular shape than natural fats, causing them to disrupt cell membrane function throughout your body. Your cells cannot incorporate trans fats properly into their structures, leading to impaired cellular communication and function. This cellular disruption is particularly damaging to the mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells that generate energy. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a hallmark of aging, and trans fats accelerate this process. For your heart, which has the highest concentration of mitochondria of any organ due to its constant energy demands, this mitochondrial damage can be particularly devastating. The American Heart Journal published research showing that trans fat consumption is associated with reduced heart rate variability, a measure of cardiac autonomic function and a predictor of sudden cardiac death. This suggests that these fats don't just contribute to long-term plaque buildup, but may also disrupt the electrical signaling that keeps your heart beating properly. Another concerning scientific finding relates to how these oils affect blood clotting. The omega-6 fatty acids in vegetable, corn, and soybean oils are converted in your body to compounds that promote blood clot formation. While clotting is a necessary function, excessive clotting tendency increases the risk that a small piece of arterial plaque could trigger a catastrophic blockage, causing a heart attack or stroke. For those already taking blood-thinning medications like aspirin or prescription anticoagulants, consuming these pro-inflammatory oils creates a dangerous counteraction to the medication's intended effects. Essentially, your medication and diet are working against each other. Epigenetic research has revealed another disturbing aspect of these oils. They may actually change gene expression in ways that promote cardiovascular disease. A study published in Nature Communications found that high consumption of linoleic acid, the main fatty acid in these oils, altered gene expression related to fat metabolism and inflammation in ways that promoted arterial damage. This epigenetic effect may help explain why the negative impacts of these oils can persist even after you've stopped consuming them. Your body's cells remember the exposure through these epigenetic changes, potentially extending the damage timeline well beyond the actual consumption period. A particularly important mechanism for adults over 60 involves these oils' effects on membrane fluidity. As we age, cell membranes naturally become less fluid and more rigid. The type of fats you consume directly affects this membrane composition. The unstable, polyunsaturated fats in these harmful oils, when incorporated into cell membranes, make them vulnerable to oxidative damage, accelerating this age-related loss of membrane fluidity. This is especially significant for heart cells and the cells lining your blood vessels, where proper membrane function is essential for maintaining healthy blood pressure, proper calcium signaling, and normal electrical conductivity through the heart. Research from the renowned Framingham Heart Study found that people with the highest levels of these industrial seed oils in their blood had significantly higher levels of inflammatory markers and higher rates of cardiovascular events compared to those with lower levels. This correlation held true even after accounting for other risk factors like smoking, diabetes, and family history. For anyone taking statins or other heart medications, there's another layer of concern. These drugs often work by addressing just one aspect of heart disease, like cholesterol production, while doing nothing to counteract the inflammatory damage from these oils. In fact, some research suggests that the benefits of statins may be partially negated by a diet high in inflammatory oils. The scientific evidence is clear and compelling. These four oils create a perfect storm of oxidation, inflammation, and cellular dysfunction that directly contributes to heart disease, particularly as we age. The good news is that by eliminating these oils from your diet, you can significantly reduce these harmful processes and protect your cardiovascular system from further damage. Now that you understand the dangers of these heart-damaging oils, let's focus on the solution. The good news is that making the switch to heart-protective oils is one of the easiest and most effective changes you can make for your cardiovascular health. Here are the best oils to use instead, backed by scientific research and specifically beneficial for adults over 50. Extra virgin olive oil. This should be your primary cooking oil. The benefits of extra virgin olive oil for heart health are supported by extensive research, including the landmark Pre-Dimed study, which found that people consuming olive oil regularly had a 30% lower risk of major cardiovascular events. The key compounds responsible are the monounsaturated fats and polyphenols, which actually reduce inflammation and protect your blood vessels from oxidative damage. For cooking, extra virgin olive oil is much more stable than commonly believed. While it's ideal for low to medium heat cooking, quality extra virgin olive oil can withstand temperatures up to 375 degrees Celsius, 190 degrees Celsius, without significant oxidation. Use it for sautéing, roasting vegetables, and making salad dressings. Look for olive oil in dark glass bottles and store it away from heat and light to preserve its heart-protective compounds. Avocado oil. This is your best option for high-heat cooking with a smoke point of about 526 degrees, 270 degrees. Like olive oil, avocado oil is rich in monounsaturated fats that improve your cholesterol profile and reduce inflammation. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that replacing just 5% of calories from other fats with monounsaturated fats, like those in avocado oil, reduced the risk of cardiovascular events by 15%. Avocado oil is nearly tasteless, making it versatile for various cooking applications. Use it for stir-frying, grilling, and any high-temperature cooking methods. It's also excellent for homemade mayonnaise and salad dressings when you want a neutral flavor. Coconut oil, in moderation. While controversial due to its saturated fat content, unrefined coconut oil has unique properties that can benefit heart health when used in moderation. The saturated fats in coconut oil are primarily medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, which your body metabolizes differently than the long-chain saturated fats found in animal products. Research published in the British Medical Journal found that coconut oil consumption raised HDL, good cholesterol, more effectively than other oils. Higher HDL levels are associated with reduced cardiovascular risk, especially in older adults. Use coconut oil occasionally for baking or medium heat cooking when you want its distinctive flavor. Ghee, clarified butter. Ghee has been used in traditional Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years and offers surprising benefits for heart health. By removing the milk solids and water from butter, ghee becomes a concentrated source of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that reduces inflammation in the digestive tract and throughout the body. A study published in PLOS One found that, contrary to popular belief, ghee consumption was not associated with increased heart disease risk. In fact, it was linked to improved HDL-LDL ratios in many participants. Ghee has a high smoke point, about 485 to 250 degrees, making it suitable for high-heat cooking methods. Use it for sautéing, roasting, and in place of butter for a richer flavor with more heart-protective benefits. What about flaxseed oil and walnut oil? These oils are excellent sources of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, an omega-3 fatty acid that has anti-inflammatory properties. However, they are extremely delicate and oxidize quickly when heated. Never cook with these oils. Instead, use them in cold applications like salad dressings or drizzled over already cooked foods. Store them in the refrigerator and use them quickly after opening to prevent oxidation. Practical tips for making the switch. Start by clearing your pantry of the 4 harmful oils we discussed. Check ingredient lists on all packaged foods and gradually replace products containing these oils with healthier alternatives. Invest in quality oils. Yes, heart-healthy oils like extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil cost more than vegetable or corn oil, but the health benefits far outweigh the additional expense. Consider it an investment in your heart health. Store your oils properly. Keep olive oil and other heart-healthy oils in dark glass containers, away from heat and light. Consider refrigerating more delicate oils like flaxseed oil. For baking, applesauce or mashed bananas can often replace vegetable oil in recipes, adding moisture without the inflammatory effects. When dining out, ask what oils the restaurant uses for cooking. Many establishments are willing to accommodate requests to use olive oil or butter instead of their standard cooking oils. Consider using more herbs and spices in your cooking. Many herbs like rosemary, oregano, and thyme contain compounds that help prevent oil oxidation during cooking, providing an extra layer of protection. By making these simple swaps, you're not just eliminating harmful ingredients, you're actively adding beneficial compounds that protect and strengthen your cardiovascular system. This positive approach to heart health can yield significant benefits, often within just a few weeks of making the change. As we reach the end of this important discussion about heart-damaging oils, I want to emphasize something crucial. It's never too late to make changes that protect your heart. Whether you're 55, 75, or 95, your body responds to the choices you make today. The resilience of the human cardiovascular system is truly remarkable, and by removing these inflammatory triggers from your diet, you give your heart the chance to heal and strengthen. Think about this. The oils you choose for cooking tonight's dinner will affect your body for days afterward. The inflammation triggered by harmful oils doesn't just disappear after digestion. It continues to impact your cardiovascular system long after the meal is over. This means that starting today, right now, with your very next meal, you can begin to reduce the inflammatory burden on your heart. I've seen this transformation countless times. People who make this simple switch from harmful oils to heart-protective alternatives often report noticeable improvements within just a few weeks. Better energy, reduced joint pain, improved blood pressure readings, and even better cognitive clarity. These are common benefits that extend far beyond heart health alone. Remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. If you currently use these harmful oils for most of your cooking, start by replacing just one bottle with extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. If you consume lots of processed foods containing these oils, begin by finding alternatives for the products you use most frequently. Small, consistent changes add up to significant health improvements over time. Your heart works tirelessly for you, beating approximately 100,000 times per day, pumping about 2,000 gallons of blood through your body. It never takes a break, not even for a second. Doesn't it deserve the best possible care? The simple act of switching oils is one of the most loving things you can do for this vital organ that keeps you alive every moment of every day. If you found this information valuable, please hit the like button and share this video with someone you care about. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death in America, but much of it is preventable through informed choices like the ones we've discussed today. Your share could literally save someone's life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our videos on critical health topics for adults over 50. We're dedicated to bringing you science-backed information that can help you live a longer, healthier, more vibrant life. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these harmful oils have you been using, and which heart-healthy oil will you switch to? Your story might inspire others to make this important change. Thank you for taking this time to invest in your heart health. Remember, the power to protect your heart is literally in your hands every time you reach for a bottle of cooking oil. Choose wisely, and your heart will thank you for years to come.